Hello and welcome to a fresh episode of Legal Wrangle. In today's episode, we will be covering the latest judgments of the High Courts and the Advanced Ruling Authority on the GST. Let us now proceed to our first case.
The SSE company is engaged in manufacturing disposable paper cups and plates. It ordered a machine for manufacturing paper cups from a seller based in Delhi. Between the date of placing the order and its dispatch from Delhi, the UP government issued a notification bringing into force the requirement of e-way bills for importing goods valued over Rs 50,000 into Uttar Pradesh.
When the seller finally dispatched the machine, it was intercepted by the department along with the vehicle carrying it. On coming to know of the same, the SSE generated the e-way bill and presented other supporting documents. However, the department confiscated the machine, the vehicle and raised the duty demand. It also imposed penalty equivalent to the sale price of the machine.
In support of its contentions, the department relied on a division bench decision of the Allahabad High Court. Meanwhile, the SSE also relied upon a division bench decision of the same High Court. Upon considering both decisions, the bench in the present case found that the ratio of both cases was diametrically opposite. It further noticed that while one judgment did not consider relevant legal provisions, the other had omitted to follow the earlier decision, which could have been a binding precedent.
In these circumstances, the bench opined that the doctrine of per incurium applies to both the judgments and added that it was not fit to express its opinion on the issue. It referred the matter to the larger bench and raised three questions, the most important one being whether the UP government is empowered under Rule 138 of UP GST rules to issue a notification prescribing carrying of any forms or documents along with a consignment during interstate movement. The bench also directed that the machine as well as the vehicle to be released. Let's now move to our next case.
The petitioner herein is a company engaged in generating, transmitting and supplying electricity. A clarification dated 7 December 2010 had been issued by the government, providing that supply of electricity meters on hire to consumers is an essential activity having direct and close nexus with transmission and distribution of electricity and so exempt from service tax liability. Hence, the petitioner did not pay or recover any service tax on transmission and distribution of electricity, including other incidental services provided.
For incidental or connected services, the government issued a circular dated March 1, 2018, making taxable all services such as application fee for releasing connection of electricity, rental charges against metering equipment, testing fee for meters, transformers and capacitors. It also sought to tax labor charges from customers for shifting of meters or shifting of service lines and charges for duplicate bill. Based on such clarification, the department issued summons to the petitioner seeking documents such as balance sheet for the financial year, bifurcation of income of various services and bank statements for the relevant financial year besides other information.
On hearing the submissions for both sides, the bench directed that notices be issued to both parties. Till further orders, the petitioner was exempted from replying to such summons. Let us now proceed to our third case.
The applicant herein is a renowned company providing several services including cash management. It approached the Advanced Ruling Authority with the question as to whether supply of motor vehicles as scrap after their usage would be supply in the course of furtherance of business and thus attracting levy of GST. If so, what would be the applicable rate of GST and compensation cess? Further, if GST was applicable, the applicant sought to know if input tax credit would be available to it on purchase of motor vehicles for use in its business.
On considering the submissions of both sides, the authority held that GST would indeed be applicable on used motor vehicles supplied as scrap. It held such sale to be supply in the course of furtherance of business. However, due to inadequate details pertaining to the applicable rate of GST and compensation cess, it gave no definite answer. It asked the applicant to refer to the relevant notifications pertaining to GST and compensation cess as amended from time to time.
Regarding the applicant's query as to the availability of input tax credit when purchasing motor vehicles used in its business, the bench had a difference of opinion. Thereby, the matter was referred to the appellate authority for advance ruling for hearing and deciding upon such issue. Let's proceed to our next case.
The present application was filed by Messrs. Reliance Infrastructure Ltd under Section 97 of the CGST Act, seeking clarification on the issue as to whether reinstatement charges and access charges paid to municipal authorities would attract GST liability.
On hearing the contentions of both sides, the authority noted that recovering charges for restoring the patches of roads which had been dug up by business entities like the applicant could not be equated to performing a sovereign function on as provided under Article 243W of the Constitution. The bench also noted that such service did not fall within the purview of entry number 4 of notification number 12 of 2017 and that there is no other entry under this notification which can cover such transaction.
The authority also held that GST is payable on reverse charge basis on reinstatement charges and access charges paid to municipal authorities towards restoration of roads. Such findings were based upon entry number 5 of notification 13 of 2017 as well as under residuary entry number 35 of notification number 11 of 2017 covering services nowhere else classified and attracting GST at the rate 18%. Such 18% GST was divisible at 9% each under CGST and MGST. Let us now proceed to our last case.
The applicant herein provides hotel accommodation and restaurant services. It provided services to employees and guests of some SEZ units and charged CGST and SGST at the applicable rates. The SEZ units contended that the services being rendered to them would attract nil rate of GST under Section 16 of IGST Act. Hence, the applicant approached the authority to determine whether hotel accommodation and restaurant services provided to SEZ units would be treated as supply of goods and services to SEZ units.
On hearing the contentions of both sides, the authority noted that a conjoint reading of Section 16(1)(b) of the IGST Act and Rule 46 of the CGST rules made it amply clear that supplies of goods or services or both towards the authorized operations only would be treated as supplies to an SEZ developer or an SEZ unit.
Hence, the authority held that hotel accommodation and restaurant services provided by the applicant within the premises of the hotel to the employees and guests of SEZ units could not be treated as supply of goods and services to SEZ units. Hence, they would be treated as intra-state supply and is accordingly taxable.
This brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you for watching this episode of Legal Wrangle on GST. Please stay tuned to TIOLtube.com for more videos on issues relevant to the field of direct, indirect and corporate taxation. Please also feel free to share your views with us at editor@tiol.in. Have a good day.